Hello, my dear students. A very warm welcome to all of you in Shri Jayendra Rank Zone. I am your friend and mentor for the subject Business Economics. In this lecture, we'll continue with Chapter 4, that is, Price Determination in Different Markets, and in particular, we'll continue with Unit 3, that is, Price Output Determination under Different Market Forms. All the concepts will be covered in the coming series of lecture. So let us continue. This is lecture number 6. The first point that we are going to discuss today is profit maximization in a monopolized market, that is equilibrium of the monopoly firm. So basically we will learn about how the monopoly firm reached the equilibrium level and achieved the maximum profits. Firms in a perfectly competitive market are price takers so that they are only concerned about the determination of output. Because the price is fixed at that price only, they'll be able to sell more. But this is not the case with the monopolist. A monopolist has to determine not only the output but also the price of his product because he is the price maker and not a price taker. Price maker. As under perfect competition, monopolist decisions are based on profit maximization hypothesis. Although cost conditions, that is average cost and marginal cost curves, in competitive and monopoly markets are generally identical, the revenue conditions differ. Since a monopolist faces a downward sloping demand curve, if he raises the price of the product, his sales will go down. On the other hand, if he wants to increase the sales volume, he need to lower the price. So if he wants to increase the sales volume, he will have to be content with the lower price. A monopolist will try to reach the level of output at which profit are maximum. That is, he will try to attain the equilibrium level of output. Since the firm and industry are identical in a monopoly, setting equilibrium of the monopoly firm signifies equilibrium of the industry. We shall discuss how monopoly firm discuss its output and price in short run as well as in the long run. First, we'll start with the short run. Short run equilibrium. What are the conditions of the short run? So generally what happens for achieving the equilibrium, the conditions to be satisfied in short run are MR equal to MC and MC curve should cut MR curve from below. That is, MC should have the positive slope or MC should be rising. You can also say in that manner. You can see this diagram. From this diagram, we can say that equilibrium level is the output where MC cuts the MR from below. As you can see at point E over here, at point E, MC cuts the MR from below. I believe you understand. That is when output is OQ units. Hence, the monopolist will produce OQ units and sell them at OP price. How you will calculate the profits and losses? So at the short run equilibrium level, the monopolist may make supernormal profits, may make normal profits sometimes, and may incur losses which can be based on the AC curve, that is the average cost curve. Let us give it a quick reading. That is, the twin conditions for equilibrium in the monopoly market are same as that of the firm in a competitive industry. Graphically, we can depict like this. So we can say that the conditions is MC equal to MR. This is the first condition. And the second condition is MC curve should cut MR curve from below from below, that is MC should have positive slope. MC should have positive slope. That is, MC should be rising. In this figure, the figure shows that MC curve cuts the MR at point E, as we have seen. This means that at E, the equilibrium output is OQ, and the ordinate EQ extended to the demand curve, that is average revenue curve, gives the profit maximization equilibrium price, that is OP. Thus, the determination of output simultaneously determines the price which a monopolist can charge. In order to know whether the monopolist is making profits or losses in the short run, we can need to introduce the average total cost curve. The following figure shows two possibilities for a monopolist firm in the short run. Just see this figure. In figure 25 shows MC cuts the MR curve at E. So this is MC curve, this is MR curve, and this is the point at which MC curve cuts the MR curve at point E to give equilibrium output, that is OQ. This is the equilibrium output. The price is OP. This is the equilibrium price. At output level OQ, the price per unit is QA. The price per unit is QA. As you can see over here, that is OP, QA equal to OP, and the cost per unit is BQ. This is the cost, this is B, and this is the Q. So this is the cost is BQ, and the price is AQ. Therefore, the economic profit per unit given is AR minus ATC, that is AB over here. This AB is the economic profit. How we calculated that? AQ minus BQ. AQ minus BQ. We got what? We got AB. That is the profit. The total profit is ABCP. I believe you understood ABCP. This is the total profit. Continue. Can a monopolist incur losses also? Yes. So once of the misconception about a monopoly firm is that it makes profit all the times. It is to be noted that there is no certainty that the monopolist will have and earn an economic or supernormal profit. It all depends upon the demand and the cost conditions prevailing in the market. So if a monopolist faces a very low demand for his product and cost conditions are such that average total cost is more than average revenue, the cost is more than revenue, he will not be making profits, rather he will incur losses. Figure 26 depicts this position. Figure 26 depicts this position. Here the cost is more and the revenue is less. The cost is more and the revenue is less. Over here at point A, it is the short run average total cost, and this is the revenue. This is short run marginal cost. The equilibrium of the monopolist losses in the short run. In the above figure, MC cuts MR at point E. So this is point E, this is MR, this is MC. So here E is the point of loss minimization. At point E, we can say that the equilibrium output is OQ and the equilibrium price is OP. Equilibrium price, equilibrium output. The average total cost SATC corresponding to OQ and QA, cost per unit of output, that is QA. This is QA, cost per unit of output, is greater than the revenue per unit of output, that is BQ. This is B and this is Q. So this is the revenue, this is the cost. This is the revenue because this average revenue curve is cutting at point B. Thus, the monopolist incur losses to the extent AB per unit, or total loss is ABCP. Over here, ABCP. Whether the monopolist stays in business in the short run depends upon whether he meets the average variable cost or not. So till the time the monopolists were able to meet the average variable cost, at that point of time he'll try to continue the business. But if the monopolist was not able to even manage the average variable cost, in that case, he should shut down the business for a temporary period of time. So if he covers his average variable cost at the least part of the fixed cost, he will not shut down because they contribute something towards the fixed cost which is already incurred. If he is unable to meet his average variable cost, he will shut down. Let us see another condition, and that is long run equilibrium. So in long run is a period long enough to allow the monopolist to adjust his plant size or use his existing plant at any level that he maximizes for its profits. So we can say that in the absence of competition in the market, the monopolist need not produce at the optimum level. He can produce a sub-optimum level scale also. In other words, he need not reach to the minimum LAC curve, long run average cost curve, can stop at any point on the LAC where the profits are maximum. Just see this diagram. Long run equilibrium of a monopolist. This is average revenue curve. This dotted line is average marginal revenue curve, marginal cost curve, and this is average total cost curve. Marginal cost curve is cutting the marginal revenue curve at point E over here. This denotes the equilibrium. The cost is more over here, average total cost. Let us continue. However, one thing is certain, that the monopolist will not continue if he make losses in the long run. He will continue to make supernormal profit even in the long run, as the entry of outside firm is blocked. I believe you understood this concept of short run and long run average cost curve. Short run and long run, that is profit maximization in a monopolized market, equilibrium of the monopoly firm in short run as well as in the long run. So what we learned, that in the long run a monopoly can enjoy supernormal profits, can enjoy normal profits, or even can make losses. So it's not that they can't make losses, they can make losses. Let us continue with a new topic, and that is price discrimination. Price discrimination. How can we define price discrimination? We can say that price discrimination occurs when a producer sells a commodity to different buyers at a different prices for reasons not related to differences in cost. This simply means what? This means that the entrepreneur or the businessman can charge different prices to different customers on the basis of the location, on the basis of their income, on the basis of their revenue sources, and so on. So price discrimination is possible under monopoly, which the seller can influence the price of the product. But price discrimination is not possible under perfect competition, since each firm has no influence over the market prices, and there is a perfect knowledge about the market to each and every buyer and seller. What are the objectives of price discrimination, or why price discrimination is happening? Because the monopolist wants to enjoy more profits or maximum profits, because he wants to dispose the surplus stock which he has. He wants to enjoy economies of scale, the benefits of large scale production. He wants to capture the foreign market. He wants to secure equity through pricing. I'll quote some examples over here. Generally what happens, doctors may charge more from a rich patient than from a poor patient, but the level of treatment they offer to a rich patient and poor patients are same. Price discrimination. Consider the following example. The family doctor in your neighborhood charges a higher fee from a rich patient as compared to a fee charged from a poor patient, even though both are suffering from the same problem, that is the viral fever. It also happens with electricity rates. Electricity rates for home consumption in rural areas are less than as compared to industrial areas. Export prices of products are cheaper as compared to the domestic market selling price. Even railways charge different rates from different type of passenger, that is AC, non-AC, Tatkal, benefits, etc. I believe you understood. The above cases are examples of price discrimination. What is price discrimination? Price discrimination occurs when a producer sells a specific commodity or specific service to different consumers or different buyers at two different prices or at different prices, two or more different prices for reasons not associated the cost. Price discrimination is a method of pricing adopted by a monopolist in order to earn an abnormal profit. It refers to the practices of charging different prices for different units of the same commodity. Further examples: railways separate high value or relatively small bulk commodities which can bear higher freight charges from other categories of goods. Some countries dump goods at low prices in foreign markets to capture them. Some universities charge higher tuition fees from evening classes students than from other scholars. A lower subscription is charged from student readers in case of certain journals. Low charges on phone calls at the peak time, off peak time. Price discrimination cannot persist under perfect competition because the seller has no influence over the market determined prices, because in a perfect competition a seller is a price taker and not a price maker. Price taker and not a price maker in case of perfect competition. In case of perfect competition, perfect competition, because the seller has no influence over the market determined prices, the market discrimination requires an element of monopoly so that the seller can influence the prices of his product. Let us continue and see the conditions of price discrimination. Price discrimination is possible only when the following condition prevails. Condition number one: the seller should have some control over the supply of the product. The firm should have the price setting power. That means monopoly power in some form is necessary, not sufficient to discriminate prices. Number two, the seller should be able to divide his market into two or more sub-markets. So, in first market, he'll be able to charge more as compared to the second market or as compared to the sub-market. Third, the price elasticity of the product should be different in different sub-markets. The monopolist fixes a high price for his product for those buyers whose price elasticity of demand for the product is less than 1. This implies that when the monopolist charges a higher price from them, they do not significantly reduce their purchases in response to higher prices. 4. It should not be possible for the buyers of low priced market to resell the product to buyers of high priced market. That is, there must be no market arbitrage. Thus, we can say that we know that a discriminating monopolist charges a higher price in the market which has a relatively inelastic demand. The market which is highly responsive to price changes is charged less. On the whole, the monopolist benefits from such discrimination. Let us see a numerical example so that we'll be able to understand price discrimination more clearly. Suppose the single monopoly price is rupees 30 and the elasticities of demand in market A and market B are 2 and 5. In market A it is 2, in market B it is 5. Then we can say that MR in market A equal to average revenue A, elasticity minus 1 divided by elasticity. Over here the average revenue is 30, AR equal to P, 2 minus 1 divided by 2 because elasticity is 2 in market A. So if you solve this, you will get marginal revenue in market A equals to 15. If I talk about marginal revenue in market B, it is average revenue in market B, elasticity minus 1 divided by elasticity. That means elasticity is 30, average revenue is 30, elasticity is 5 in market B, so 5 minus 1 upon 5 will give you 24. It is thus clear that the marginal revenue in the two markets are different when elasticities of demand at a higher price are different. Further, we see that the marginal revenue in the market in which the elasticity is high is greater than the marginal revenue in the market where the elasticity is low. Therefore, it is possible for the monopolist to transfer some amount of the product from market A to market B. So, where the elasticity is less and therefore the marginal revenue is low, to market B where the elasticity is high and the marginal revenue is also high. Thus, when the monopolist transfers 1 unit from A to B, the loss of revenue is 15 rupees. And this loss of revenue will be more than the compensated gain. That is, gain would be 24 rupees on a whole. The gain in revenue will be 24 minus 15, which is 9. It is noted over here that when some units are transferred from A to B, the price of market A will rise because the quantity supplied in market A has been transferred to B, and fall in B because it is transferred to B from A. This means that the monopolist is now discriminating between the markets, that is market A and market B. Again, it is to be noted over here that there is a limit to which the units of output can be transferred from market A to market B. Once this limit is reached and once the point is reached when the marginal revenue in both the markets, in two markets, are equal as a result of the transfer of output, it will be no longer be profitable to shift from the output from market A to market B. When the point of equality is reached, the monopoly will be charging different prices in two markets at a higher price in market A with lower elasticities of demand and lower price in market B with higher elasticities of demand. I believe you understood till here. I believe you understood till here. Let us continue and see objectives of price discrimination. What is the need of price discrimination or objectives of price discrimination? The first objective is to earn maximum profit. Generally what happens, we charge different prices to different consumers. Rich consumer we charge more prices as compared to poor consumer. The example of doctor is given over there. In that case the doctor was charging more as compared to the doctor was charging a rich patient more as compared to a poor patient with the same level of services to dispose of the surplus stock, to enjoy the economies of scale, that is to take the benefit of large scale production, to capture the foreign market we charge different prices. So it may happen that the goods we are exporting into the foreign market, we will be able to charge less in the foreign market as compared to the domestic market, and to secure equity through pricing. Price discrimination may take place for reasons such as differences in the nature and type of persons who buys the product, differences in the nature of locality where the products are sold, and differences in income level, age, size of the purchase, and time of the purchase. Price discrimination may be related to the consumer surplus enjoyed by the consumer. Professor Pigou has classified 3 degrees of price discrimination. Under the first degree, the price discrimination, the monopolist separates the market into each individual consumer and charges them the price they are willing and able to pay. Willing to pay and able to pay according to PIGU, and thereby extract the entire consumer surplus. Doctors, lawyers, consultants, etc., charging different fees, prices decided under bid and offer system. Auctions through negotiations are examples of first degree of price discrimination. Second degree of price discrimination. So under the second degree of price discrimination, the different prices are charged for different quantities sold to the consumer. The monopolist will take away only a part of the consumer surplus. The two possibilities are there. First, different consumers pay different prices if they buy the different quantity. Larger quantities are available at lower unit price. For example, a family pack of soaps or biscuits tend to cost less per kg than smaller packs. Second, each consumer pays different prices for consecutive purchases. For example, suppliers of service such as telephone, electricity, water sometimes charge higher prices when consumption exceeds a particular limit, but within that limit they charge less prices. This is happening in India also. So see, generally in the state of Delhi, if you consume 200 units of electricity, the electricity is free for you. But if you are consuming more than 200 units of electricity, in that case you have to pay the electricity bill for all the 205 units. I believe you understood. I believe you understood that each consumer pays different prices for consecutive purchases. For example, the supplier of telephone, electricity, water sometimes charges higher prices when consumption exceeds a particular limit. Over here, the Delhi government had set the limit to 100 units. Continue. Under the third degree of price discrimination, price varies by attributes such as location or by customer segment. Here, the monopolist will divide the consumer into separate sub-markets and charge different prices in different sub-markets. So they charge different prices in different markets or different sub-markets. Examples: dumping, charging different prices for domestic and commercial uses, lower prices in railways for senior citizens, and so on. China generally China generally dumps China generally dumps electronics products in India. At a very low prices, China generally dumps electronic products in India. Let us continue. Equilibrium under perfect competition, how it is to be achieved. So under simple monopoly, a single price is charged for the whole output, but under price discrimination, the monopolist will charge different prices in different sub-markets. First of all, the monopolist have to divide the total market into different sub-markets on the basis of differences in elasticities of demand in the market. For the sake of making our analysis simple, we shall explain this case where the total market is divided into two subparts or two sub-markets. In order to reach the equilibrium position, the discriminating monopolist has to take three decisions. The first decision the discriminating monopolist needs to take is how much total output should be produced. So basically over here we should decide the quantity of output. Next, how the total output should be distributed between the two sub-markets, how the total outputs should be distributed between the two markets, and what prices he should be able to charge in the two markets. Prices charged. The same marginal principle will guide his decision to produce the total output as that which guides a perfect competition or a simple monopolist. In other words, we can say that the discriminating monopolist will compare the marginal revenue with the marginal cost. but he finds that he has to find out first the aggregate marginal revenue of the two markets taken together and compare the aggregate marginal revenue with the marginal cost of the output. Aggregate marginal revenue curve is obtained by summing up laterally the marginal revenue curves of the sub markets. In figure 28a, let us see. In figure 28.1, this is market segment A. What is discussed over there? The marginal revenue in A is the marginal revenue curve in sub-market A corresponding to the demand curve, that is DA. Similarly, marginal revenue B is the marginal revenue in sub-market B corresponding to the demand curve, that is DB. Now, the aggregate marginal revenue curve AMR, which has been shown in panel 3 of figure 28, has been derived by adding up what? MRA and MRB. The marginal cost curve of the monopolist is shown by the curve MC in panel 3. Just see over here. Submarket A, submarket B, and if we combine submarket A and B, will get a total market, that is the quantity and price charged in the total market, that comprise of submarket A and B both. The discriminating monopolist will maximize the profits by producing the level of output at the marginal cost, that is MC, intersects the aggregate marginal revenue curve, that is AMR. It is manifest from the diagram 3 that the profit maximization output is OM. For only OM, the aggregate marginal revenue is equal to the marginal cost of the whole output. Thus, the discriminating monopolist will decide to produce OM level of output. OM level of output. See over here. So over here, as you have seen, the discriminating monopolist have divided the market into two sub-market forms, that is sub-market A and sub-market B, and this is the total market. So basically we can say that the D of A equal to ARA and D of B equal to ARB curve of the two sub-markets, and also the marginal revenue of A and marginal revenue of B listed over here of the two sub-markets are drawn first of all. What is the next step in doing so? So if we combine this, both the marginal revenues, will get what? Average marginal revenue over here. So we can say that the aggregate marginal revenue curve of the market is drawn over here when we combine the sub-market A and sub-market B. So marginal cost curve of the entire market is covered over here, MC of the entire market, that is market A plus market B. If I talk about the output level, this is output level over here, OM output, right? So over here, this is the point at which the marginal cost curve cuts the aggregate marginal revenue curve from below, and this is for the whole market. This is for the whole market. So this is the total output of the discriminating monopolist, output A plus output B, based on this OQ output or OM output. A dotted line is extended in part C over here. Just see this. That shows what? From left to right. From left to right. This. And this is AMR. This line is AMR, that is aggregate marginal revenue. So the quantity level at which this AMR is there cuts the MR curve, that is the marginal revenue curve of the sub-market A and B, constitutes the output level in those markets, that is market A plus market B. So we can say that this is OQ1 plus OQ2, sorry, OM2. This is OM1, this is OM2. The result of this, that is OM1 and OM2, is what? OM. Over here it is shown the market as a whole. So the prices at which those quantities can be sold in the respective markets are obtained from the average revenue curves, and hence we can say that the prices in submarket A is OP1 and the prices in submarket B is OP2, and the common prices over here is OB. This is the price shown over here. This is the common price of market A plus market B. So price variations in both the submarkets is due to the difference in the elasticities of the two submarkets. The elasticity of market A is different to the elasticity of market B. What are the benefits that we derive from the price discrimination? The first very benefit is the company or basically the business could have increase in revenue due to the price discrimination, and this will enable the firm to stay in the business for the longer period of time, and they can they can cover up their losses or they can make ample profits. By peak load pricing, we can say that the firms having capacity constraints will be able to spread its demand to the peak of times, resulting in a better capacity utilization and reduction in the cost of production. Some essential service could be offered, like railways cannot be profitably run unless price discrimination is followed. So poor consumers will benefit from lower prices and more prices is charged to the rich consumers by giving them some extra facilities. If I talk about the Indian Railways, just see the text and continue. So once the total output of the product has been determined, the next task is discriminating monopolist is to distribute the total output between the two sub markets. He will distribute the total sub output, that is OM, in such a way that the marginal revenue in two sub markets are equal. The marginal revenue in two sub markets must be equal if the profits are to be maximized. If he is so allocating the output in two markets that the marginal revenue in the two markets is not equal, then it will pay him the transfer sum amount from sub market in which the marginal revenue is less to the sub market where the marginal revenue is more or greater. Only when the marginal revenue is the two markets are equal, it will be unprofitable for him to shift any amount of the goods from one market to the other. For the discriminating monopolist to be in equilibrium, it is essential not only that the marginal revenue in the two sub-markets should be same, but they should also be equal to the marginal cost of the whole output. Equality of marginal revenue in the two markets with marginal cost of the whole output ensures that the amount sold in the two sub-markets will together be equal to the whole output OM, which has been fixed by equalizing aggregate marginal revenue with marginal cost. It will be seen from figure 3, that is equilibrium level OM and marginal cost is ME. Over here the equilibrium level is OE, OM and ME. Continue. Now, the output OM has been distributed in two markets in such a way that the marginal revenue should be equal to the marginal cost, that is ME, of the whole output. It is clear from diagram 1 that OM1 must be sold in market A because the marginal revenue M1E1 at amount OM1 is equal to the marginal cost, that is ME. Similarly, OM2 must be sold in submarket B since the marginal revenue M2E2 of amount OM2 is equal to the marginal cost ME of the whole output. To conclude, demand and cost condition being given, the discriminating monopolist will produce output OM and will sell amount OM1 and submarkets A and amount OM2 in submarkets B. It should be noted over here that the total amount OM will be equal to OM1 and OM2. Next, another important thing which the discriminating monopolist has to discover is what prices will be charged in the two sub-markets. It is clear from the demand curve that amount OM1 of the goods can be sold in price OP1 in sub-market A, and therefore OP1 will be set in submarket A, and likewise the amount OM2 can be sold at a price OP2 in submarket B. Therefore, price OP2 will be set in submarket B. Further, it should be noted that the price will be higher in market A where the demand is less elastic, in market B where the demand is more elastic. Thus, price OP1 is greater than as compared to price OP2. See this figure once again. Fixation of total output and prices in the two sub-markets by discriminating monopolist. So price discrimination is usually resorted to by a monopolist to secure higher profits and to acquire sustained monopoly power. There is a loss of economic welfare as the price paid is higher than marginal cost. Price discrimination also results in reduced consumer surplus. However, there are some favorable outcomes as well. The increase in the revenue due to price discrimination will enable some firms to stay in the business who otherwise would have made a loss. So by peak load pricing, we can say that firms having capacity constraints will be able to spread its demand to peak times, resulting in better capacity utilization and a reduction in the cost of production. Many essential services like railways cannot be profitably run unless price discrimination is followed. Some consumers, especially the poor consumers, will benefit from the lower prices as they would have not been able to purchase the goods or service if uniform prices were there and charged to all the consumers. I believe you understood till here. Let us continue to the next topic, and that talks about economic effects of monopoly. What are the economic effects of monopoly? First, monopoly is often criticized because it reduces the aggregate economic welfare through loss of productive and allocative efficiency. Second, monopolists charge substantially higher prices to the consumers and produce lower levels of outputs than would exist if the product were produced by competitive firms. Third, monopolists earn economic profits in the long run, which is unjustifiable. Economic profits is earned by the monopolist in the long run, and that is unjustifiable because of the price discrimination and several other tactics. So monopoly prices exceed marginal cost and therefore reduces the consumer surplus. There is a transfer of income from the consumers to the monopolist. Not only that, consumers pay even higher prices, but they would also not be able to substitute the goods or service with a more reasonably priced alternative. Monopoly restrict consumer sovereignty and consumers' opportunities to choose what they desire because there is a single seller. Because there is a single seller, there is single seller in the market. Next, monopolists may use unjust resources, unjust means to create barriers, unjust ways to create barriers to entry to sustain their monopoly power in the market. They often spend huge amount of money to maintain their monopoly position. This leads increases average total cost of producing a product. A monopolist having substantial financial resources is in a powerful position to influence the political process in order to obtain the favorable legislation. Next, very often it happens that monopolists do not have necessary incentive to introduce efficient innovations that improve the product quality as well as reduce the production cost. But still, the monopolist is able to charge more to their customers. Monopolies are able to use their monopoly power to pay lower prices to their suppliers because it is the single buyer in the market. The economy is also likely to suffer from X efficiency, which is the loss of management efficiency associated with the market where competition is limited or competition is absent. There is no competition. So if you are not taking, if you are not uh, trying to find out several ways to reduce the cost or to be in competition, to be in the market, to make a good place in the market, and this is the limitation of monopoly. Since monopolies are exploitative in nature and generate undesirable profits, undesirable outcomes in the economy, a number of steps are taken by the government to prevent the formulation of monopolies and to regulate them are already present if they are already present. Let us begin with the new concept now, and this is imperfect competition. This is not perfect competition, this is imperfect competition, monopolistic competition. Monopolistic competition. Okay, so if I talk about the monopolistic competition, we can say that monopolistic market is a market where there are large number of sellers are present, but each seller is having a different, basically they are able to differentiate themselves because the product differentiation feature is there. They are having little control over the prices, but they compete on the basis of non-price competition. New firms are free to enter into the market and existing firms are able to quit. The brand loyalty is so high because each seller tries to develop the brand loyalty for his products. I believe you understood. Consider the market for soaps and detergents. Among the well-known brands on sale are Lux, Vival, Synthol, Dettol, Liril, Pears, Lifebuoy, Dove, etc. In this market is an example of perfect competition. Since all the soaps are almost similar, one might think that this is an example of perfect competition. But on the close inspection, we find that though these products are technically and functionally similar, each seller produces and sells the product which is different from those of its competitor. For example, Lux is claimed to be a beauty soap, whereas Liril is associated with more freshness. Dettol soap is placed as an antiseptic soap, and Dove claims to ensure young, smooth skin. So they are trying to differentiate their product from one another. Let us move ahead. The practice of product and service differentiation gives each seller a chance to attract business to himself on some basis other than price. This is the monopolistic part of the market situation. Thus, this market contains features of both the market discussed earlier, that is, the features of monopoly as well as the features of perfect competition. In fact, we can say that this type of market is more common than pure competition or pure monopoly. The industries in the industries in monopolistic competition include clothing, manufacturing, retail trade in large cities. There are hundreds of grocery shops, shoe stores, stationery shop, restaurant, repair shops, laundries, manufacturers, women dresses and beauty parlors in a medium-sized light industries. So we can say that a monopolist market is a market where large number of sellers who individually have some share in the market are there. The products of different sellers are differentiated on the basis of brand, and each seller tries to attribute a kind of some peculiar feature of the product so as to meet consumer needs. Since products are differentiated, the producer of an individual brand can raise the price of his product knowing that he will not lose all the consumers to other brands because of absence of the perfect substitutability. Substitute products are available in the market, but the same substitute is not available in the market. The same taste, freshness will not, the same fragrance would not be the same. However, since all brands are close substitutes to each other, the seller will lose some of its consumers and to the competitors. Seller generally try to compete on the basis other than price. That is, they do aggressive advertising and publicity. They try to do product improvement and product development. Better distribution agreements could be made, or efficient after sales services could be given. Price reduction is not resorted in this case, because such price competition may result in price wars, and which will may throw the new basically firms out of the market. So they don't compete with the price. Non-price competition prevails in a monopolistic market. I believe it is clear to all. I believe you must have understood till here. We just seen the imperfect competition, that is the concept of monopolistic market, and we have seen the aspect of the various aspect of this market. Students will keep this lecture till here only. We'll resume further in the next class. Thank you.